Porsche Taycan, a brand new all-electric four-door sedan from Porsche, is getting really popular, and they've been posting a lot on social media, just almost as much as a makeup Instagram model, and it's paying off. A lot of people are talking about it. I have to say, there are other all-electric cars like Jaguar I-Pace and Audi e-tron that are coming out even before the Mission E, I wanted to call it, that's their former name, before the Taycan, and yet people are really excited about this one. This is their latest post, so let's talk about that. Of course, we're going to talk about Tesla and Elon Musk. Got to get a fix of that and a couple of comments of the day, so let's get going right now. Welcome to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. Thank you so much for contributing to the show. And if this is your first time here and you're interested in getting into this whole amazing and exciting world of electric cars, you came to the right place, because I do daily videos about that, like this one that you're watching right now. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything moving forward. Let's talk about the Porsche Mission E, which is now called Taycan, and it is, today they've reminded everybody with this post, and as you can see, they have quite a few prototypes, it looks like, and they are really committed to getting this out. It looks like they're really believing in the future and making it all electric. As a matter of fact, here's their UK's Porsche Twitter homepage. As you can see, the Taycan is featured pretty much front and center there. So their commitment to it is pretty impressive, if you ask me, which is great. In today's post, though, this one right here, where it looks like they're lost somewhere in a desert in a third world country, judging by the telephone poles there. Almost most of the camouflage is removed. We can pretty much see what it's going to look like, kind of like Panamera, and they're also coming up with a crossover SUV based on this car. It's also a pretty good looking and slick car, but that one I think is slated for production in 2020, which is not really that far ahead if you think about it, or far away if you think about it. Yeah. So in today's post, they wanted to remind everybody that this little thing is going to do 0 to 60 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.5 seconds, which is pretty good, which is not bad at all. I can see how some of the Tesla owners are going to be switching to this car, at least trying it out. I gotta tell you, I'm not really sure myself. To me, it's kind of the same almost. I'm digging the look. It's pretty cool. I've just never been a Porsche guy. I've never been a Porsche guy, and again, I might be looking into Audi e-tron, or still Jaguar I-Paces on my radar, but we'll see how it does. They are taking reservations now, even including in the US, so you can put your deposit down and see what happens really. But yeah, that is happening. I just wanted to just kind of put it on everyone's radar, because a lot of people think that this car is really kind of a in the future. It is not. All right, let's move on to some interesting Tesla news. Before that, of course, I want to remind you guys that this video and the show is sponsored by Avanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. The description of this video has a discount code, so they've created it specifically for our community. Go ahead and use that to save yourselves a few bucks when you shop there next time. All right, so Martin Tripp posted this pictures on his Twitter feed, and quite a few other things we're going to talk about right now. You cannot find his Twitter feed because, well, some people said he removed himself. Some people are saying his account has been suspended. Not sure why, but who knows. But he posted these pictures as a proof of his claim that Tesla has been doing a lot of things wrong during their production, and in this particular case, basically, he's claiming that what they did is instead of scrapping some of the faulty batteries, they actually ended up like filling it with glue, with adhesive, and then putting the outer shell back on there, right? And then putting it back in the cars. Now, Tesla issued, I think, a couple of statements now, obviously denying this 100%. And I don't know why these pictures have disappeared. This is a copy of those, of course. And he also released a bunch of VIN numbers, I think of Model 3s, where he believes this was done too, and I'm assuming we're going to hear from some of them because they're publicly released. I'm sure that those owners will sooner or later appear, and I don't know, maybe they will go to the Tesla Center and see if that can be expected, maybe to like third-party independent body shops or whatever, and see they can expect it. Not really sure if anybody really wants to touch that with a 10-pole stick, really, because not too many people are really familiar with these, especially for the Model 3. But nevertheless, he's claiming that this is actually front and center of his case. As you know, Tesla is suing him, he's suing Tesla back. But I hope it's not true. I know they were in a rush. It just doesn't sound like this is something that would be that desperate to do it. But nevertheless, he claims to be a whistleblower. If this is really is going to check out, he might have a case. But let's not rush to judgment. Let's see what happens. Nevertheless, this is a new development today. And again, I don't even know, or I don't think anybody really knows what happened to his Twitter account. All right, let's move on to something else. And Tesla factory here in Fremont. I shouldn't say here anymore. I live in Sacramento, so it's about an hour and a half away. But yeah, I'd still say here in California, right? All right, so Tesla factory here was a site of a field trip. Not for local students, but for Wall Street analysts. Believe it or not, somehow they allowed them on the property, and actually the result wasn't that bad. So this, this quote that's been surfacing from one of the analysts with Evercore ISI. His name is George Galliers. I've never heard of him, I have to say, but I'm not a stock market kind of guy. But he had some actually kind words to say. Surprising. Essentially, he's basically saying that he's confident that the production rate of 5,000 units per week is pretty sustainable, and he believes they can get to 7 or even 8,000 relatively soon. Now, Tesla said that their goal is 10,000 a week, which means 40,000 a month, which is actually a huge production, and they are planning on using the same assembly lines. They're just gonna, make them a little bit more productive, a lot more productive actually. But it's going to be sometime next year, whatever that means. But at this point, checking the Bloomberg tracker, by the way, and their number has been pretty steady. This is literally from about an hour ago, over 5,000. And by the way, Tesla almost made 70,000 Model 3s. That's a lot, guys. And I'm here in Sacramento, and I'm seeing some Teslas. Maybe I see 2 or 3 a day, and I have to say I see just as many Model 3s as I see Model S's, and almost no Model X's. Interesting, right? Obviously it's Sacramento is supposed to be really green city, right? They have a lot of, it's a cap. Just in case if you don't know, Sacramento is a capital of California, not San Francisco, like a lot of people think. I think like how I thought before I got here. And there's a lot of green initiatives here. But nevertheless, obviously, I don't see as many Teslas here. It's not as rich of an area as Silicon Valley, where I used to be. But it's interesting to observe who and what kind of electric cars I'm seeing here. All right, so from one factory to another, Buffalo factory is apparently struggling. They're struggling to produce the Tesla Solar Roof. And this is the picture that I took from one of the very first customers of the Solar Roof. You can see a couple of videos on my channel. As a matter of fact, my featured video is about this house, and there's a follow-up video with all the specs and pricing from the owner of the house. But I digress, because apparently they're not making these very fast. Apparently Elon was reported saying that he's not aesthetically pleased with what the factory looks like over there. And as a matter of fact, Panasonic, who's a partner in batteries for Tesla, they're actually selling some of their components that they've originally made for Tesla to other companies, because Tesla has been very slow to ramp things up with their Solar City, or their former Solar City, their solar products. I myself originally thought that the Solar City acquisition was like the best thing ever, because now they're not just a car company, they're really an energy company, and those two go hand in hand. People who drive Teslas a lot of times have solar roof, solar panels on their roofs, and it is technology that is very necessary. Like, for example, I just moved into my house here in Sacramento. I expect my bill to be pretty big, because I run air conditioning all day. Obviously, I now work from home, and on top of that, I'm charging my Tesla, I'm charging my Volt, and it's I'm wondering it's gonna make my bill go up enough for me to just go with the solar panels, just because it's going to be cheaper. So that does make sense. So and I thought it was great. Oh my God, you know, Tesla is going to completely dominate the world with this. And it's been kind of disappointing that the solar roof and other solar products that they've have, the energy products, you know, Powerwall, have not been as successful for the consumers, at least. I know they're doing a lot of commercial projects, but for consumers, it hasn't been up there. So that's kind of been disappointing, but I'm still looking forward. I mean, in the last, you know, earnings call, they once again mentioned that they're ramping it up, and it looks like their revenues are coming in and more from that. But I really, really wish they would pick it up a little. And it's disappointing to hear that not only they're kind of slow, but they're kind of dirty. Apparently they're not keeping it tidy. All right, before I get to the comments of the day, there are two of them. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to a couple of the Patreons. One is Dwayne Lindsay, who became a new Patreon and now can watch me live and enjoy my extra mile segment, which sometimes are as long as my regular YouTube segments, which you're watching right now. And Bart, whose last name I'm assuming you are Swedish, but there's no way I can pronounce your last name, so I'm really sorry, Bart. Hoping I'm pronouncing your first name correctly, but thank you so much for upping your pledge all the way to the top tier. Of course, I really appreciate it. This definitely helps me a lot to move this channel forward. I will be going to quite a few events now that I don't have I lost my full-time job. I am free to do a lot of other cool things like Motorway Car Week. Normally, I wouldn't be able to hang out there for too long because I really kind of ran out of PTO. But now I will be actually able to go there for a couple of days. I'm planning on visiting Rimac. They're going to be there with their prototype, Pininfarina. Hopefully they'll have their prototype. Of course, Biden is going to be there. Volvo is going to unveil their Polestar 1 and quite a few other things that are going to be presented there as far as electric cars. So I'm looking forward to that. And you guys, my Patreons, are making it happen for me, and I really appreciate it. All right, so let's move on to the comment of the day, and both of them really have to do with Elon Musk and his Twitter. Yesterday I ran a story, and I reported, as many other did, that there was a I forget who reported. New York Times reported that you know, some of the board members have been pretty vocal asking Elon to stop tweeting. One of them was really kind of harsh. So based on that, here are a couple of comments. Tom Hoffman, who has been a longtime viewer and a pretty active guy on in the comment section, so I really appreciate it, Tom. He says, Elon is the most important person alive. And by the way, I have to mainly agree with that. I've been saying, like, people think because I give him a hard time, I hate him or anything like that. No, I love the guy. He is one of the most important people on the planet, and I absolutely agree. I think Elizabeth Warren might be another one. We'll see. I proudly own Tesla stock, and I trust Elon to continue to carry Tesla into the future. That said, I don't think people understand how much trouble Elon has gotten himself into on Twitter. He absolutely needs to stop the insults and have truth. See, this is a perspective I really like, because you can love Elon Musk and you can enjoy Tesla products. And obviously this guy is doing both. He owns the stock, he owns the car, he loves Elon Musk, that's fine. At the same time, you know, it's okay to have your own brain. It's okay to have a critical thinking and say, you know, there's some things that the guy I really like doing that are not okay and damaging the brand that I love. And you know, I've been saying this for a while. And by the way, when I started saying this, I mean, I had so much backlash. I have a bunch of Tesla fans, you know, fanboys really unsubscribe and leave all kinds of nasty comments all over the internet, everything. But turns out, there was something to my comments back in the day, even when I started noticing that Elon was moving in a direction I didn't like. And this is a typical, I think Tom and I are actually on the same page here. You know, from a pedo comment to this comment that, you know, listen, Martha Stewart is a good example, right? She went to jail. And I'm telling you, if Elon does not have a good case here, where he had the funding secured for the deal of Tesla going private, you know, it might happen for him, and I'm worried about it and I'm also worried about all the bad publicity that it brings. I know I covered that, but yeah, no, I love this comment. I really I agree with this, Tom. All right, there's another comment from Thomas Lee, and he says about the same topic, they should force him to delete. I don't know where you put it on quote. I think you didn't mean to put the quotes there. You should force him to delete his Twitter account and focus on Tesla service centers. There are many angry customers waiting months, again in quotes, but it's true, for their cars to be fixed. And he actually brings up a good point. And this is like, you know, this is like a heroin epidemic in America. I'm not comparing it, I'm giving you an analogy that like, it's a problem that no one's talking about. Yes, if your Tesla either breaks down, which does happen, or it gets in an accident, there is a good chance you might have to wait for weeks, definitely for weeks, but a lot of times for months, and depending on the country you live in, depending on the state you live in, and that's a problem. You guys just put yourselves in their place. Let's say something breaks in your car, or let's say you get in a car accident, and you put your car in a body shop, and they said, that's great, that's great. I think I'm allergic to this story, because this happened to me a few times now. They say, that's great, I will see you in 3 months, because Tesla's telling us that they don't have a part right now and it's going to be available in 3 months. Obviously, this is due to the fact that they're trying to produce as many Model 3s as possible, but at the same time, and this problem has been there for years. It's not like it just started to happen with the Model 3 production ramp up. And first of all, the loaner that you get, I mean, a lot of times these insurance companies will cover you for what, $25, $35 a day for a month, right? So now you're driving a Dodge Neon, you're putting gas in it, and after that, you also have to pay for it yourself. That's not a good solution if you're a Tesla owner. It's beyond unacceptable. It's happening all the time. There are a lot of unhappy owners. I'm one of them. By the way, I'm going to the service center in a couple of weeks to deal with the same problem for the 5th time now. With my remaining Tesla, I have a remaining regular 60 Tesla now. And I've had quite a few problems, as I said, in the last few months with the car. Now, I didn't have to wait as long as some other people, but the wait time for what it is has been longer than I expected. And I don't know what happens if I get an accident and I need a part that's not available. Like, what am I going to do? I've had to wait for parts for a few weeks, but I was lucky enough to get a loaner from the body shop that was also Tesla at that time. But I don't know how I would deal with it if this is going to happen, and I have to. I mean, I have a Volt, my other car that I drive around, and I love it. By the way, I've been really liking driving the car, and I've used no gas so far. It's been getting me around really easily, and the charger's pretty fast. Just really, really like the car, I have to say. But I'll make a video about it some other day. By the way, Nero plug-in hybrid, a video coming in on Saturday, my quick review about that. All right, so let's get to the extra mile, and this is just exclusively for the Patreon. The segment is for Patreons. This is where we, I answer some of your questions, and I think we already have some chat going on. Let's see, are we? Yeah, I think we got something going on already. Here we go. Yeah, so we're gonna get going with that. If you want to become a Patreon and support the show, get a shout out on the show. And by the way, I now allow businesses to advertise here if you'd like through Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/E4Electric. That's it for my YouTube segment. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you tomorrow. And for those who are watching me on Patreon, I will see you in just a few seconds. Okay, guys, see you tomorrow. And remember to stay charged.